Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the Back Office Teardown Lab. Today we have the HitBit keyboard. So this is just the keyboard of the HitBit unit that was a bit rusty, if you recall, and we're going to really see if there's any way of getting this working, and I'm pretty sure there is. It's basically standard keyboardy fare. But the main issue we've got is that it's got these really rusty screws, and I'm going to try to position this so that you can have a look at my rusty screw head. And there it is, right there in the middle. Boom! Look at that. And when you've got these, the issue is, of course, that you can't get any purchase on them. Bloody purchase! So I'm going to try to do something with them. And once we get rid of them, that's great. I'm not even bothered about replacing them. I'm sure I'll find any screws. And I don't think even the most obsessive collector would rather this replaced with something else. Okay, it's not the original screw. So I'm going to go for the trick of holding the old screwdriver and then getting some extra torque on it with my pliers. Let's see if that works. Not working so far. No, that did not work. That's no good at all. Just going to try it on some of the others. We'll just zoom out so you can see. I'm just trying it on some of the others. This is it's actually kind of bent, the end of my screwdriver, so gosh knows how much torque you actually would need on this. Actually, it didn't even work. It didn't even work on the one that was good, so that's definitely a crap technique. Next, so how about trying to just sort of grab them? That kind of works actually, but there's a lot of PC. Oh, I just kissed the PCB there. I'm going to be careful with that one. That's a kind of working technique, but I kind of just damaged slightly the varnishy silkscreen layer there. That's one that you're going to want to reserve for those really, if you're really desperate. Let's not do it that way. Let's try. Just going through basically all the things I've got lying around. I do have some very small stud extractors, but you'd need the microscopic for that. Found a better screwdriver, so I was able, with sufficient pressure while I was sort of twisting it, to just crack the seal on a couple of these. So I've got that main one off, which is excellent. I'm going to get the old magnets. If you haven't got them, by the way, get some of these rare earth magnets. They're really useful because, of course, they stick to anything, and all these screws stick to it. So you can invest in non-magnetic screwdrivers and then just magnetize them as required. Good. Well, that's good. I mean, that's a good technique. So basically, this was one that I haven't done. So just hold the your palm on there and just give it. Yeah, there you go. Just give it a little. It's just literally like an eighth of a turn, like an impact driver, basically. Once you get that little eighth going, oh no! Look, the head came off that one. Less good. Oh well, we might have a little bit of a floppy corner on that keyboard, but that's fine. Again, we're talking about a keyboard here that just is kind of not working. It's got, it's missing keys, so anything's going to be better. And I'm going to show you, just as a comparison, by the way, I'm just going to show you something, what these screws look like. This damage, someone must have spilt something on this. But look at the damage. So that's, you can see on the right, it looks like it's bright zinc plated screw, and on the left, totally rusted out. I mean, and that one on the left is by no means the worst. The worst is yet to come, because I'm going to try to get it out. I'm probably going to end up using the old pliers trick, but there's not much PCB action going on. There's no tracks here, not like the one I messed around with earlier, which was here, which is quite near a trace. Again, I do love these old things because the traces are so humongous. You could, if you wanted to, you could probably like photocopy this board and make your own. You could just make your own MSX keyboard. I wonder if anybody wants a Sony upgraded sort of keyboard. So you use the same caps, but you change it all with like, some sort of different type of tack switch or something. So this kind of looks suspiciously, there's another screw there, like all the screws but one. Now, just a quick one to show you. There's a mark here and there's a mark here because there's a sort of a rubber thing in the unit that holds these in place. So looking at that, even if you've lost this screw here and you lose this one, it's not going to really be the end of the world. I think it's going to be fine. But what you can do, you could use some of these existing screw mounts here. This one does align with the rubber, but this one doesn't. You have to be careful. But say this one here which doesn't, and you could put a big ass fibre washer on here. I think we could make a way where we actually attach a washer as a mounting point if you want that to stop flopping around. But I really suspect these units are so sturdy. I suspect when you sort of put it all back together, it wouldn't really be an issue at all. Oh, crikey. That was the head crushing totally on that one. Didn't get a turn on it. Now you can see in the PCB, I'll just show you on that one, the eyelets are oval. So even though I've crushed this down a bit, it's still not oval enough, but it might be possible to sort of just wiggle it through or just bust its edges basically so it's oval. So let's see if we can do that. I'm going to take my little flat blade screwdriver here and just see if I can convince the edges of this screw that they want to be a different shape. No. Can we get that in there? Come on. I know all you can see is me fighting this thing, but I'm just basically trying to desperately get any sort of purchase so I can just get the tiniest amount of torque. I'm pretty sure once we can get that going, it's going to come off, but no, it's mullered my screwdriver, so it's going to be a nasty pliers job. So all I'm doing now is just squeezing it. My theory being if I keep squeezing it, it'll kind of make it a weird square shape, and that's giving us more chance of twisting it. Every time it makes that noise, ka-chunk, 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 it's actually just losing a piece, a little bit more metal, a little bit more metal. So even if it loses all the metal, it'd be great because it'll just squeeze through the PCB hole. I think we're almost there. There are a lot worse things to have to do, by the way. Sometimes you do have these plastic, but it's not screws, it's basically blobs of plastic where it's just been welded, plastic weld. You've got to drill all those things out, and they're really hard to replace. In fact, sometimes you might just try to tap in so you can actually use screws later. Yes! That's it, 1/8 of a turn. I don't know if you saw that. Come on now. Come on. No. We'll get there though, we'll get there. Got you going once. Yes! So it's basically turned around now. It's we've got 90 degrees turn on that. But I can't get the pliers in the original orientation, so we might have to start working on it again. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to keep working at this and we'll just do a little jump cut because you've been watching me patiently for long enough on this thing. Get the side cutters of crapness. I'm not too worried about breaking these. Oh, that's it. They've got a bit of good bite on there. Ah, yeah. So that, it was me stabbing myself in the finger with this stupid thing. But, it served its purpose. It did waz off that whole head, look. Yeah, boy! We're ready to go now. This is exciting, isn't it? Let's see. And before we look at this, let's just have a little look-see here. We want to be careful. It looks like these buttons can go a loco. These buttons can go a loco at any moment, so we'll take care of those. But yeah, apart from that, look at these little springs on there. There's a lot of stuff that you could get lost, really. So put this aside very carefully. And now, these are quite nice little sort of tack switches, just seeing if there's any markings on there. Shame there isn't a sort of middle button. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could probably make a return button here, and then you push the middle. But anyway, why would you mess with clearly perfection? MSX knew what they were doing, or whoever it is who designed it. So I'm just looking, there's the space bar, and there's the switch for the space bar, and I think that could be our first target to see what's going on. Like, the weird thing is, I couldn't work out how these switches work. They don't seem. I'm just going to put it back on my meter, onto its, you know, continuity range, but so that's connected to that, weirdly, and that's connected to that. So, is that connected to that? No. Okay. So just in case you didn't see, those are connected. Those are connected, but you see you've got a trace coming here and a trace coming here. So I think that's where I would be trying to make a circuit. I'm not getting anything on the when I push the key down. I can feel the keyboard compressing that. But then I look at these other keys, some of them, and I'm not sure how they bloody work either. So let's see, we got this key here. So there's an out going on there. So I'm going to do the same opposite to opposite. Oh yeah, you can't see the meter, but I'll show you. Let's zoom out now so you can see the meter. Something did happen though on the old meter, so it's going to do the two. Right, so you see when I push down that one, it goes to sort of 60 ohms. So there's a resistance there that's being created. So try the space bar again. Nothing. So I think it really could be the actual key component there. Right. So I don't think it's anything to do with circuits and traces and that. That's basically what I was eliminating. So we have a few keys here that, spring. Be careful, the old spring. Is it magnetic? Yeah, it's a little bit magnetic, so you can put that on your rare earth magnet. So there is some crustiness on these diodes, no doubt from that same water damage, but it doesn't look too bad. In fact, let's just give them a quick once over with the old fiberglass pencil. Again, thank you, Brian. Very useful. I'm glad I caused Brian so much pain when he watched my videos that he sent me those. And that there is the little button unit. It does look rather good, but I don't want to mess with it now. We got to be cautious. So before we again play with that, belt and braces on our testing. And I know it's unusual for me to bother testing something so much, but I really don't want to ruin something like this, because I think it could be a pain to find another one of those. Right. Doesn't look like anything's going on. So I've got my PCB cleaner here. I'm going to try one technique then. I'm just going to pour PCB cleaner in, on, around that switch. Hope some's got into it. And we'll just see. God, it's been quite tenacious, the PCB cleaner. It's spreading on that board. I don't see how anything could get into the keycap actually. You know, the cap was covering over this hole, so if you spilt something you'd have to drench the bloody thing. And this, the water kind of got sucked up through a sort of capillary action. Right, I'm on a resistance range now, so it's not going to beep even if it could. Keep an eye on it. Oh! I thought I saw something, but then it's probably just reading resistance through the cleaner. Yeah, that's in the mega ohms. You don't want to switch operating in the mega ohms. Let's see what we can see with this thing. Maybe there's a way of popping a lid on it. Yes, there is. In fact, look, sliding that under there seems to want to release it in a very significant way. Okay, that's one side off. Oh, you wouldn't luck have it. It's got the same on the other side, but you've got very little room to get in there. Oh, but you do have room. That's true. You can get in there. Wowie. That's tight. That's tight, she said. Come on now. Come on. Yes. Right. Now let's see what's under the lid. Ah. We're going to need our pliers for this one. Well, our pliers, our twizzers. Ooh-wee, mister. And there's some corrosion in there. In that there part. Right. So, first things first, while it's nice and easy to do, take your keycap. And remember, this has already got PCB cleaner on it, so I don't really need to apply anything. And I'm just going to rub it like that. Don't rub it too vigorously, by the way. You're just trying to clean off any kind of layer of gunk on that. You're not trying to like rip the black thing off, the actual carbon layer off it, which I may not have done. So this looks like it's basically contacting two bits there. What may have happened is that it was just on a sort of permanent, like as if the spacebar sort of kind of permanently held down or not, just not being read. I'm going to use again our fiberglass pencil now. That's all I'm doing. I'm just hear me going around in a little circle, a circular motion. It's kind of made of paste. Ooh. Let's get in there. We don't want no paste in there. Now we can see that's looking rather clean. So if we take our meter, again, I'm gonna read this off screen. Don't worry. We're basically getting an thinking about it, but an 8 mega ohm resistance between the two, and I think that's probably okay. Been experimenting. A few of these keys have got really clean looking contacts, and they're measuring between 65 and 120 ohms, so I kind of confused myself a little bit because I was pretty sure this key is working. But I'll just show you. This is the space bar button, and it's reading on the wrong range there. It's reading 10 megs, 8 megs, 7 megs. It's kind of jumping around. But then when I push it, it's doing 0.5k. So it's definitely registering at this point now. It's definitely registering something. But then if I go to the next one along. Now, by the way, as it's registering something, it might be enough that would actually just start to work. So I could test this now in the actual unit. But before I do that, this is the code button, which I was really sure was working. Nothing at all. So it's all a bit odd. I suspect I might have to pop the keycaps to just check, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to very gingerly place this in the machine without the cover on, plug it in, try it, just see if I get a space. If I get a space, and then what I'm going to do is just write down all the keys that don't work, and we'll just pop all the lids and go through the same process very quickly, second time round. I've been a buzzing. Now, space works fine. Absolutely, absolutely fine. So that's a good thing. But some of the other buttons don't work, and I'm just going to show you which keys, or buttons, I'm calling them buttons, but they're keys, buttons, whatever. So some of them I'm not seeing anything in the Microsoft Basic, but that's kind of escape, graph, select, this weird little odd key over there, cap, code. So some of these I'm not so sure on. I'm not sure escape, for example, does anything if you're not running a program. Cap, I think, is a caps lock, so that one may well be a duffer. Backspace was working. This backslash, though, wasn't, and that's a little bit suspect one. So some of these are, remember, some of these are really clean, and then some of them are dirty. So if you've got escape where that looks really clean, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the meter to test that one. But the ones down here, you've got RT, I'll just show you moving across. So you've got RTY and I not working. And then you've got the right square bracket not working. And then S doesn't work. X doesn't work, C doesn't work, and V don't work. So I might just have a look. There could be something that links them all. The reason being, imagine if one of them was really crusty and it's kind of shorting and it's doing a weird thing. So it could be that. Or what we can do, code didn't seem to work. Either of the codes, actually, this one or this one. If you recall, we didn't actually take that lid off. Let's just dive right in. And I'm just going to have a look in here. And my logic is this. If I go in here and this one's full of crud, then it doesn't really make any sense for me to just sort of waste any more time. I should just pop the covers on the ones that look duff and then just see if they are as crappy as this one might be. Now I'm just going to see if there's a way of convincing this to come off without unhooking from the other side. No, you really do need to unlatch it from that back, which is a big old pain there, I can tell you. Trust me, it is. Might be better with a scalpel. Let's see if we can get the old scalpel blade in there. This is how you break scalpel blades. Right, cover off. Spacey thing out. Yeah, it's definitely looking a bit crusty in there. You've got that green crusts. Now, let's pop that in. Let's do a science. Let's science this one, because you don't need to watch me doing this activity over and over again if we can figure out what's the science behind it. So I'm going to put the dome back in. I'm going to put that plastic doodad right in there. We've got our multimeter set to resistance range. I'll put it there in the corner so that I can cover it over with my arm and you can't see what it says. Right, and we'll give these a little wiggle jiggle. 0. And I'm going to push that down. So it has dropped. I'm sure it did drop there. I can see the screen flickering. Oh, there you go. If I push hard, it did kind of go down to sort of 33 megs, which is still too high. It's way too high, right? Because it's supposed to make some sort of contact that the system can, register. So I'm just going to like rub it on here. Just to off it went. So that's pretty clean in there now. So I'm going to pop that right there. And in there, though, we've got that green. The green funk. Although if we're doing it scientifically, which we are, let's see if we can figure out if it was the cap or the base. We know that the base is definitely going to need cleaning anyway, but let's just do it. Let's do it with science. Okay, so you probably can't see that because my hand now is over the meter totally. It's saying 0, trust me. I'm pushing the button down. Still 0. 0 all round. Well done. It's even worse than it was before. So that implies that the seat here that it sits on is no good. So just going to give that a quick brush, and I'm using brass on this one. Now inside the seat there is 2 bits of metal, and then there do seem to be a couple of sticky up brass contacts, and they're looking really shiny now. I'll show you what it looks like. See them there? Now they are pretty shiny. I'm going to put the meter over here this time so you can see it. Pop the cap back on. We're getting there. This will be good for the actual proper back office video when I eventually get round to making one. So remember I said I wouldn't do these sorts of videos anymore? Clearly I've forgotten that. Ooh, by the way, look, that way is wrong. I'm just looking at the code cap. Just make sure when you put these back finally, and you clip the lid on, it's sitting the way around it should be. So I'm going to put it that way just to show you. And if this is good, we're done anyway. We're going to just pop the lid on. There's no need to take this apart anymore. So, let's see, we'll put the meter on there. Oh, look. There you go. That's much better. That was better than the space key. So if it works on this, if it worked on the space, it'll definitely work on this code key. So I'm going to now probably go offline and sit there doing a rinse and repeat job across all of those, and we'll check back in a minute. Okay, working my way through. The only things I could offer you in terms of advice, by the way, is find out a better way than using your fingers for these, because when you try to do them with your fingers, they tend to sort of kick and stab yourself. So I'm just using these archery forceps where I can and just kind of getting them under the key. In fact, I'm going to do it this way so it's a better angle, better twist in it that way. And just kind of gently prising them up. Look, you can see how much force it takes. They sort of fly off across the room. And yeah, they're generally okay, but look, this one here is a weird one, so I thought we'll have a look at this one together. That's the caps button, because it's got a clearly got an LED in it, and I can see the LED. It's just in circuit, just there on the back, and there's a lot of rust here on this one. So I don't know if I want to dismantle it. So we're going to see what we can do with it without dismantling it. So I'm just going to first try to clean up around it just to see the contacts. So this sort of can has these contacts on it. So the actual switch is going to be these two end ones. It's probably hard to see where you are, but there we go. But you'll probably see it, if you have your own unit in front of you. You can see where my probes are going. Put your probes in the same place, basically. Yeah, so it's definitely working, but it's still in the mega ohm range, so I suspect that's why that's not working quite as expected. But the tricky part is, how do you get to it? Well, looks like we're going to have to remove the metal can, and the metal can's held in by these two connections, one here and one here. So we'll wait for the old soldering iron to warm up. And just as a sort of sanity check, I can still put the meter here. Do it from both sides. 0. And I'm seeing 1. It sort of went down to 3 there. 3 megs on that. Still it's mega ohms. Now, something we could try as well. I mean, if you're really desperate and you don't want to take this off, try to get your sort of cleaning fluids in here, and you could just maybe feed in PCB cleaner and keep doing that. Maybe it'll wash out the old filth. You never know. But wait till I don't start yet. Let's take this one off, and then you can see what it looks like. Because just get me soldering, because then it gives you an idea of how it's constructed. Because I don't have a bloody clue. So we're just gonna apply some solder there, just to give it a bit more, because the solder's flux, so that'll kind of activate the old solder a bit better, and also it gives a bigger ball for the solder sucker to get. That's probably my solder sucker, by the way, is that look at the end of it. The pin is actually protruding now further than the end of the sucker. That's no good. In fact, I do have a selection of suckers, some of them more crappy than others. Let's see what else we got. These green ones were pretty good. Let's try that one. Yeah, that's really clean now. I'll zoom in to show you what that looked like. That's not bad. I think that'll do. So you can see just about, you can see round each pin. It's about as good as you're going to get. Now, if you've got extra hands, apply heat while you're doing this, because I'm sure it's still soldered in a bit. Ah! That did actually lift. That side not quite. So we actually did lift the whole component there. So this, yeah, you can see this leg actually is pushing through. So maybe we can just push through the other leg. We don't really want to lift the component, but it's just showing you that that metal can, which is what holds the whole thing, if you get that off, just want to make sure it's kind of sitting loose now. Yeah. Okay. So we'll find some fine screwdrivers. We're going to try now to lift just that metal lid. I don't want to take the whole thing off, you see, I just want to take the lid off, but might need some finagling. By might, it will definitely need it. Come on now. Crikey, it's a really soft metal. Just trying to see in there. Oh wow! Right. Yeah. How it's constructed is it's actually the leaves of this switch are mounted sideways. I'm going to try to zoom in. Bear with me. Not sure you'll actually be able to see it, but so when you push it down, so the other switches we saw were like a dome that sits here, yeah, and there's a couple of contacts that the dome is basically shorting out because it's got this carbon disc. This switch with the LED is a bit like, it's got imagine a wedge. It's got a wedge in it, and here it's got a ball on a spring. So as you push down, it pushes this leaf into that and makes contact there. So that's what is in this bit here. I can see it at an angle. So I'm just trying to figure out what can we do. Because bearing in mind, that's going to be a tricky switch to find. So I'm going to get some of our lube. Oops. Right, managed to get some in there. Managed to get some everywhere. I'm just going to work that a little bit. Just get some of our blue paper and we'll see what pulls out. Nothing too filthy looking. There's a bit of grit in there, but nothing too filthy. I'd like to see a lot more filth, basically. I want to see all the filth all the time. Ooh. So now we're going down from 2 points, well, look, the mega ohms going up, probably as it's drying up, but look, it does. Oh, it's down to the ohms range now. If you remember, it was in the megs before. Yeah, yeah, baby, good. That's a good one, isn't it? Good one. So what we're going to do, before we do anything though, let's close that can up. We opened a big can of whoop-ass on that. We're going to close that up and then we're going to solder that back in. So we probably didn't need to desolder it. So good you were watching me. Glad we went through that together. Don't desolder it, just lift the edge of that cap button. Cap button can, there. And then just get some cleaner in there. And if we're lucky, everything should just still check out. Again, I'm getting really sensitive now to the whole using the meter after everything, because it's a bit of a trek to go put it back in the machine and I don't want to wear out anything. Yeah! Look at that. That is a good key press. Boom! Booyah! Right. I'm going to go test that out and then I'm going to go get on with the others. So I'm just using two thin things and that's good. Just get it on the edges. If you get it on the edges, and again my head might start getting in the way, I need a second now, but I'll move out of the way to try to show you the popping off part. Yep, there's little catches. And I've kind of skewed it. Whoa! It jumped off that one, but yes, we got it off. But not to worry, I found where it went. Got it right there. So yeah, that's it. We can do it from the top. You can take it from the tap. You don't need to get in there. And look, there's the green, the greenery. Plenty of greenery in there. See it right in there? That bit of green. And then, as if by magic. So brass definitely is the one to use, by the way. Focus. Focus. Brassy. Mr. Brass. In fact, let me switch my camera. to manual focus. Let's do it like this. So then, cranking that in there. So easy to blow in the top of that. That's good. I mean, I've not even been doing any additional. I've just been like rubbing that with my finger to make sure that's free of schmucks. And then I just pop that back in there. And then the cover. I think tweezers are handy if you've got them. In fact, don't put the cover on yet. Where's my spider? Oh, where did I put that? Here it is. Don't forget the spider. Horizontally, yeah? Make sure it's horizontally aligned. Then the cover. It just clips right on. And then the key, the right way round, hopefully. Remember, they are angled. And that should be that. Great. So, hope that's been of some use to you. Use the opportunity, if you can, to clean any gauze out of any of the keys. I mean, it's easier to do it, but I suppose you could always do that from the top anyway if you have to. It's not a big deal. And that's how you do it. You don't need to take the keyboard out at all. Not like me. Enjoy your MSX. Like, share, subscribe, and as ever, guys, thank you for watching.